Welcome back to our afternoon session. Okay, I got a question for you. How many of you enjoyed lunch? All right. I think the food staff deserves that thank you, so thank you very much. I'd like to, we'll continue the program, and it's time to bring back somebody that probably needs no introduction. I don't have a whole page of introductions, but I think probably all of you know Jody Pollok-Newsom, who has been our executive director for the inception of the program. Certainly a person that brought her experience got us to where we are today, and probably someplace we couldn't have been without her. But I think you need to appreciate all she has done to put this event together for you. We discuss things quite often. She still relies on me for ideas or reassurance or something. I don't know what it is, but she said, "Well, I haven't looked at those notes since I wrote them over the Christmas holiday." So you know how long she's been planning this, and there's a lot of details go into this. So I think as we introduce her, I think we need a round of applause to thank Jody for this event.
Thank you.
And with this, Jody.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm in that awful spot right after lunch, and we just fed you all that really good food. So I'm just going to try to give you some updates. The program today is brought to you through the Checkoff program, the Michigan Wheat program. So I always like to do some updates, let you know what we're up to, kind of let you know what we've accomplished, and kind of get us thinking a little bit towards the future. So with that, I'm going to try to keep it kind of brief, but if you've been on the board, that's really not my strong point, is it? I can see Frank and Bill kind of laughing, Jerry's laughing too. But I want to start out a little bit and talk about the numbers. When we look at the yield and look at production for Michigan, 2016 was a record yield, 89 bushels per acre. Last year, we were bouncing back up there at 80 bushels an acre. So we all know lots of variability. Hopefully with the end program, we can learn some things, put some things in place. When we look at overall crop and overall of our production, 2016 was definitely a bin buster at almost 51 million bushels. When we look at last year, we were getting closer to that, about 41.5 million bushels. So lots of reasons to be excited about wheat and wheat production when we look at our state. When we look at the history, I think sometimes we think, well, what about a checkoff program for Michigan? Certainly we talked about, we have the production, we have the yield. When we look at our history in the summer of 2011, so really not that long ago, when you look at checkoff programs, we were voted in by the growers. Late 2011, the board was appointed and we started with our first meetings, and then May 2012, we started with assessment collections. When we started, we were only voted in by 54% of the popular vote. Because we are a checkoff, every 5 years we go back to a vote of the growers. So our first vote in 2016, you can see 80% of popular vote and 81% of production. And then last year was a very strange time to have a vote because we couldn't have meetings like this. We couldn't go to trade shows. And honestly, my favorite things about the job are going to meetings, talking to you all, having conversations. So sitting in your office as the vote comes up, knowing that we can't go out with a press release or anything that says vote yes, support us, because the state says that then would be politicking and we can't do political things. So for us to go ahead and have the vote, and then you can see our numbers, we passed by 85% of the popular vote and 91% of production. So thank you so much for the support. We very much appreciate it. There's a lot of folks that put time and energy into this organization. Definitely, as we've looked, where do we want to go? Research has been one of those areas. From our inception, we have funded about 154 research projects. That was since 2012, and that is getting us close to that $4 million mark when we look at research. Those are all the different areas. I'm not going to read all those to you. Several of you picked up annual report that was out there when you checked in. That gives you a lot more details, but research is definitely where we focused. 60 to 65% of our budget annually usually goes towards research projects. We have several projects that have extended over several years. Probably two of them that have been really important. Early on, we put funds into the wheat breeder to get Eric Olson to Michigan. Todd Wright's back there. The Millers put some funding in. We put some money in. Crop Improvement put some money in. It was a big coalition with industry to make sure Michigan State got a wheat breeder. And then I would say after that, probably the most important thing we did, we partner 50-50 with Michigan State for Dennis Pennington and his position. So when we look at what we've been able to do besides projects, we've done a lot of funding of resources and people. When we build off the research and we look to the future, I'm not going to talk a lot about this. I think Dennis really hit this and covered this well, but I just want to hit again the importance of this collaboration. And I always tease Dennis. A little over a year ago, he said, could you jump on a call with me on Friday? And I have yet to get off that call yet. We have a call every single Friday with all those folks that you saw on that screen. Several of them rotate in and out, but there's 4 or 5 of us. We're there every week. And Yen has been built of every week, what's the next step? All right, now this week, what's the next step? So to hear all of your enthusiasm and all your questions, there's huge potential, and I really think this is going to help feed into our research program and keep us moving forward. Great Lakes Yen, now is the time to sign up. I know we've mentioned this, but we want to make sure you get in. If you're interested, you can either talk to Dennis and I, or I. There's a pad out there that you can sign up, but this is launching on Friday morning. 9 o'clock is the Zoom. If you've already signed up, you've already got that information. We are set, we are ready to roll, we are good to go. And we're very excited when we look at our numbers and are ready to move ahead with our growers, not just in Michigan, but in the other states. And Dennis and I, we're the Michigan lead, but we're also the US lead. So we're hoping this can grow and develop, and we can bring some more folks on board and build it more than just a staff of 2 to kind of help keep it going. When we look ahead, I guess I'm going to mention it. We thought we put it in the presentation. We also have sponsors. When we look at the Yen and the Yen program, there is a fee for the growers to participate, but this is a very expensive program when you look at all of the testing, when we look at all the different activities. So we do have some sponsors. BASF is here over there. They are one of our early sponsors that jumped on. We also have King Milling, who's over here. They have jumped on as a sponsor. Star of the West Milling, they have joined us as a sponsor. And we also have Manel Milling that has joined as a sponsor. So as you see those folks, please let them know how much we appreciate it, and especially some of that early funding to help us get up and help us get started. So even just databases, you know, that's $40,000 a year, and we're trying to get a discount. It could be all the way up to $150,000 a year, but they're taking some pity on us and helping us. But when we're done, you guys will have apps and you'll have the technology you need. So this is a huge collaboration with everybody working together. When we look at other research and other projects and how are we moving forward, if you picked up one of the annual reports, there will be more details in there. But we have been able to partner with Michigan State and MSU Technologies and work with them on some of the new releases. So we were really looking at a program, when you looked at some of the releases, that we had wheat breeders that would have a variety every 4 or 5 years. We now have a wheat breeder that has 4 or 5 varieties every year. So it's looking at the system to see what we can do, how can we help, and how can we make sure that voices are heard from the farmers of what you guys want and what you guys need out there in the field. We also worked a lot, especially during the pandemic, Dennis and some of our extension partners on our YouTube channel. We actually have 48 hours, if you were to just sit there and stream, of wheat type videos. So if you have questions or wondering how you take a sample, This is a great resource to go to our YouTube channel. You can look it up. You'll see a smiling face, and they will show you what you need to know or just share information with you. Also, you can probably see we have Daryl in the back. He is taping, as in all of our annual meetings and all of our field days. Every time we do those, we get those taped. So in the next week to 10 days, all of these sessions that you've heard today, they will be up on our website. So there's stuff we've talked about before, Fusarium head blight. We've talked about some other disease issues. If we have a pest issue, if that comes up again in the future, you can go right back to the website, pull that information, and look at that presentation. So this information is there for you to see and for you to be able to use. We also, since we were kind of home for the pandemic, we're really looking at how do we still get information to growers. So I hope you guys picked these up when you did registration. Our Michigan Wheat 101, it came out last year. Every grower that we have of record, we sent a copy of this to. And this Michigan Wheat 101, this is really everything you should need to know to be able to grow wheat in Michigan. We worked with all of the specialists, got all of their articles, and then spent many hours pulling it together into a publication. So that's there, that's available. That is also on our website. So if there's information you need, you can access that quickly and easily. If you're looking for even more communications, because that's not enough, I think most of you, and especially by registering for the annual meeting, get our e-newsletter. That is truly meant for you guys to look at that for seconds. Those titles I put right up top. All you need to do is go through and look at what the titles of the articles are, and if you're not interested, just close it and you're done. We try to pull some stuff that's interesting that you're going to want to look at. You can go ahead and look at that, click through the articles, see more resources, but that's really meant for you at a glance to see what's going on, what's happening, and what do I need to know. And as I mentioned, we also have our website, miwheat.org, which has all kinds of materials for growers. Obviously, events are important to us. You are here at the annual meeting. Also, mark your calendar. June 16th will be our summer field day. We do the two big events every year, the annual meeting and the field day, and we rotate them between the Lansing area and up in the Thumb. So we will be up in the Thumb for the field day. Research that was funded last August, researchers knew we were going up to the Saginaw Valley Research and Extension Center. The plots are already planted, things are already in motion, and we are planning for that field day on June 16th. So with that, I'm sure you're all sitting there saying, wow, this is a lot of stuff. How do I get involved? How do I get to be on the board? How do I get to represent? I don't see anybody waving their hand yet. It's a great opportunity. We have a lot of board members. I know Dave went through and introduced. If you're on the board now, will you either just stand up or raise your hand so people would know who to ask questions to? We have past board members. We have Mark Hasnick. Mark, if you want to, I saw you. If you want to put your hand up so we know back there. We have Jerry Heck. Jerry's right there. Bill Hunt and Frank Viscotial. They were on the board and helped get things up, established. On our board, you can serve 3 3-year terms. So in 9 years, you are term limited off the board. So we're looking for growers who are interested. For each position, we have 2 people. So we do have these positions, as you can see. We have 3 that are up every year that rotate through. We're in a position where those folks can be reappointed, but even though they can be reappointed, we have to have a second name that goes in with those folks because it is the governor's decision who she decides to put on the board. So if you are interested, you can talk to any of those board members. You can talk to myself. I actually have petition forms. You have to get a petition signed by 5 growers. I have some of those here today, so you could get it done really quick and then turn those into me. You get an application, fill that out, and then that goes to the governor's office. So, and then she will make her appointments by June. So lots of neat opportunities, lots of work that goes on with that board, and probably our biggest responsibility is funding research, and that's in August. So the good news is we do not meet 12 months a year anymore like we used to when we got up and started. We now meet more like 5 times a year. So if you have questions about that, let me know. Otherwise, if you have any questions, I can take your questions. This is how to get a hold of me if you have any questions, ideas, or thoughts or input. And really just want to kind of wrap up and say thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate the support, and it's exciting to see all the interest that you have in wheat. So with that, if there's no questions, I think I will have Jeff Crone come up. I didn't see any. I'll have Jeff Crone come up because we have some folks that we would like to thank.